Hey guys, welcome to Cars and Health Bars. On today's episode, we talk about why people are so scared of running nitrous. Also, we have a message for those of you still playing Call of Duty Warzone. Let's get right into it. Alright, I've got some top of the show stuff before we get too deep into the meat and potatoes of everything. I want to remind you guys that the next episode you will be getting is our 4th of July special coming out, of course, Tuesday on 4th of July. Be looking out for that. We've got some big plans. You guys aren't going to want to miss it. With that being said, to kind of get you a teaser into what we're going to be doing, we're going to be sharing some cop stories from a group, a big Facebook group, really. A lot of car enthusiasts, mechanics, just, anybody that's in the group. I had a lot of stories I got to go through, but with that being said, if you have a last minute story you want to share with us, get it in before Saturday. Send it to our social medias, and we'll be sure to see about getting it on the show. But that's pretty much all I had for the top of the show. So today you of course heard that we want to talk about nitrous, in particular, why people are so afraid of running it. And I mean, just in general, Jordan, what kind of comes to mind whenever you think of nitrous? I mean, you one of those guys that kind of a little afraid of it? Like, where do you stand on nitrous?
So I've installed a few nitrous kits, and ultimately where I stand on it is it's very circumstantial, because to do nitrous right, you're going to spend some money, right? Don't get me wrong. You're going to want to run it on E85. I would not recommend 93 myself. It's doable, but I would rather have something with a higher octane rating and something that burns a little bit slower, such as E85. And then also, when it comes to the power increase, it's really nice and it's really nice how you can tune around it. A lot of people think it's real dangerous, but if you got a good tuner, man, that shit's not bad at all.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that too. So the kind of what put me on the whole nitrous thing is I saw a C6, and it was kind of cool to see his system because he had a dedicated fuel system just for his
Yeah.
NOS application, but he ran C16 inside of his dedicated fuel system.
Yeah, you can definitely do that too. You could probably run only methanol in that too if you wanted, because it's just adding fuel on top of what your engine already has. So you'll have a nitrous jet and a fuel jet, and you'll just set them up with the tune. You'd want to confront a tuner if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But dedicated fuel system, I think, is the way to go.
See, just being someone that doesn't really know too much without doing research, I didn't even know that was a thing, having a dedicated fuel system for the nitrous oxide, but it makes a lot of sense because you want that higher octane gas to parent or go with that NOS to really give you that extra kick, to get the most out of the NOS, really.
Yeah, I mean, with the higher cylinder pressures and stuff, obviously, you're going to want higher octane because there's more compression going on.
Yeah. I was kind of wanting to hit on it kind of as a whole because you've seen it a lot, especially you talk to these older guys. They ran it a lot back in their days, in like the 60s, 70s, even like up in the 80s. But when you really started seeing our generation in that day using it, you've seen a big boom in the early 2000s. Of course, we have Fast and Furious probably to blame for that. That was a big thing
Yeah.
inside, especially the first Fast and Furious. But nowadays you just see it less and less, and it's like not many places refill bottles anymore, and it's what do you think kind of caused using nitrous to phase out? Do you think it was the being scared of it?
So I wouldn't really say that. It's technology. It's been around since the 40s, and maybe even before that. But I know for sure we used it military-wise in the 40s. But what phased nitrous out, I think, is the introduction of, or not really the introduction, because this technology was around in the 40s, 50s too. But it seems like it's come a lot. The technology really advanced in the 90s and 2000s with turbos. And I think turbos are what really killed it, because superchargers, turbos, boost. It just seems like it's phased out nitrous, because boost is forever, nitrous is temporary.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know what it would be to fill a bottle up today, maybe like 50, 60, $70, but like you said, that's your boost is there for good. You don't have to worry about refilling a bottle every, because I think even like a 50 pound, or no, sorry, 50 pound, a 5 pound bottle, I think it only like lasts, I don't know, like 20 runs on a drag strip. I did some research prior, and it was kind of surprising how little a bottle will get you, whenever you look at the
Yeah, I couldn't tell you
longevity.
how long they last from experience. They do enough to get us through tuning and installation testing, but
Yeah.
past that, I couldn't tell you how long it lasts.
Yeah, and I'm going back to whenever you said the introduction, like around 1940s. I was doing research on how it even came about, like what they got the
It's
idea
really
from.
cool.
There was a famous drag racer that he was experimenting with. Of course, whenever you look at how to make an engine run, you want more oxygen because you can throw fuel at it, but
Compressing oxygen
yeah,
in particular.
so of course the first thing that comes to mind is I need to feed this thing more oxygen. So they essentially had a nitrous bottle, but it didn't have nitrous; it just had oxygen. But
Yeah.
whenever you run into that, you're running into predetonation or pinging because it's firing before it reaches that point. It was really cool to see that all illustrated out on why you have to have that nitrogen paired with that oxygen to get that mix of what you need.
It's colder, and colder air is condensed, and condensed air has more oxygen per, you could say gram, whatever measurement you want. You have a tank that's so big. If it's colder, it has more air in it. And
Speaking.
also, people don't think about this is you gotta have a nitrous heater too. A lot of people don't even realize that.
Okay, see, you brought me right to
Bottle
the point
heater.
I was going to go into. I was watching a lot of Engine Masters videos. Of course, they test everything, and there is a difference at a warm bottle. They tested warm bottle, cold
Yeah.
bottle, and room temp bottle. There's about a 10% power gain on the warm bottle.
Yeah, because the molecules are just moving a little bit faster. They're still colder than your air that's, around that your ambient temperature.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and this kind of brings me to the next point, is I think a lot of people were scared of nitrous, and I even was scared of nitrous for a while until I started really digging. It's people think that nitrous is what causes the engine to blow, and I mean, it is the
It's to
cause, but
blame.
it's not the effect. Or it's what puts the
It's
nail in the
inhibiting
coffin.
it.
Yeah, the you are the person driving the knife. The knife is the nitrous oxide. It's the person that is in control of the tuning and everything else behind it. Because if you don't take the right steps, you're gonna run into failure.
Yeah, I mean, definitely just being a lot of people who don't do the installs themselves, who aren't knowledgeable on the systems and just take their cars to the shop. I would say they're at a higher chance of blowing their cars up because they just don't understand the best way to maybe drive around with nitrous. They don't understand the best way to hit the nitrous, or it's just when you understand how something works, you kind of tend to do things differently.
Know what to look out for, stuff like that.
Yeah, you're more knowledge, and I can just speak from personal experience. Before I knew, even how to build an engine. I knew nothing. And if I would have slapped an engine together, I could only imagine what would have happened. Same thing with driving.
It sucks too seeing fewer and fewer nitrous cars because I mean it's just like that's the coolest thing ever to roll up beside somebody. You think
Purge.
it might not be bone stock, it might have a cam, but he's just sitting there hitting the lick. You're like, hey buddy, you want to run? Then he purges like 2 or 3 times. Like okay, never mind then. I was talking to Tyler the other day. I was there was a Mustang driving down beside me, and I was like, man, that thing sounds pretty stock. Maybe I should mess around with him a little bit. And I was like, why is he so fast? And then like he gets up beside me, and all I hear is like purging, and I'm like, oh no! I'm like, we got a local car on nitrous. That's a first for me. I immediately messaged Tyler. I'm like, hey, this is a Scottsville guy. You got to tell me if you know this guy. Tyler's like, nope, I don't know him. But yeah, nitrous.
Nitrous is cool. I'm not the craziest about it because it seems like a lot of people want to do it with stock bottom end, and a lot of the installs I've done have been on stock bottom end cars.
So that also brings me to a point. I wanted to ask you about ring gap because
Yeah.
I want to know in your opinion, are people just lazy about doing and making that ring gap? Because I mean, from what I understand, you could even do it
Some
simply with
people,
a
yeah.
file, or do you
No,
think,
you can absolutely.
or do you think people just are that confident in the stock bottom end that they have so much faith in it that it won't cause any issues that
So
they don't do it?
it kind of depends on the car because a car from factory that's boosted will have more ring gap and typically will have a better rod, which is very important with higher cylinder pressures. And let's say you got Gen 3 LS. Maybe you got Gen 4 rods in it from factory, the later model. But your ring gap is still stock. I think it's like point 18 or 16 maybe. I'm not sure what top ring gap is for sure, but it's not much. And you're running more cylinder pressure, which means more heat. More heat means the rings are getting closer to touching, and if you ever butt a ring together, you know what happens. It's game over.
Oh yeah,
So, in my opinion, might as well just go ahead and get a forged piston and rod. You can leave stock crank; they're perfectly fine for that. And it's gonna be harder on your cylinder walls with higher cylinder pressure too, and people don't realize that because it's just, I mean, what do you think's going to happen? I mean, there's more pressure. Now, if you have a good tune, I'd say you can last a long time like that. But eventually, you're going to start seeing pitting and stuff in the cylinder walls.
yeah. That was kind of my thing too. It's like if you're taking, I mean, even if you are gapping the rings, if you've already got the piston out to gap the ring, why don't you just go ahead and do rod and piston? I mean, is it that?
Yeah.
It kind of seems like laziness.
It's not
almost.
expensive. I mean, some people are really on a budget, and I get that. But if you're really on a budget, maybe I can see where NOS is for you, but I could also see where it isn't. Because if you're stock, you can maybe just do a cam and heads instead of nitrous for the same price, and you would make probably 150 to 200 more horsepower with a really good head cam setup on most cars.
I'm telling you, man, I was blown away whenever I was telling you about that C6 I saw. That's just LS3 C6, stock everything, heads, cam, intake, like everything stock. But he has a dedicated NOS system for like set up just primarily for his car, making like 650 wheel. I'm like, golly, dude, that is insane. I mean, it's a 200 shot. I mean, what do you expect? But still, it's like it's so hard to fathom a car with all stock, even bolt-ons, making 650 wheel horsepower.
It's not too crazy nowadays. I mean, you're getting production cars putting out 600, 700 horsepower, even 800,000 now with that new Demon. I mean,
But whenever you consider the price of NOS system compared to a blower or a turbo, I mean it's like the easy way out essentially. But like you said, there's no longevity behind it.
yeah, I don't actually know how much it exactly it's going to cost to run NOS. I don't know how much it is to fill a tank. And then, you didn't want to get a good controller like nitrous outlet or something. Your tank, you got to mount the tank, run all the lines, run the solenoids, wire them up. By the time if you pay someone to do that, I'd say you could get a blower, and I would personally rather have a blower.
Yeah, I guess you are right. If you do it the right way, it's gonna cost you instead of you and Jim Bob, out one late night doing it in
Yeah,
the shop.
I mean, you could definitely do it for cheaper than a blower setup, but if you got an LS, you can get an LSA for $2,000-3,000 and get some LSA injectors and run it on like 8-10 pounds, and you're gonna be making 500-600 maybe.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, it's a whole different route. And I mean, would you say it's kind of frowned upon, especially with, the boost applications that we have in today's age that, these guys are using essentially these cheater systems to, make similar power to what they're making?
I wouldn't say that at all. It's definitely, I think I can respect anyone who runs it. Seems like the guys who run NOS are on the wild side, bro. They're the guys who are cracking cold ones and shotgunning on the weekend, going to the strip.
They got that extra money laying around, man.
Yeah.
They didn't blow it all on a blower turbo.
They're typically the guys who are rocking mullets,
I think of nitrous, dude. That's the poor man's boost right there. That's the poor man's horsepower. I mean, you look back in like I said, the early 2000s. That was the way of the streets. That was the way to really cheat somebody out of their money. Because I mean, you've got 200 horse at the touch of a button right there. You go through one pass, not touching the nitrous, man. Hey, run it back, double or nothing, and then you just get after it. Gap the life out of them.
Riding a car with nitrous too, it isn't as drastic as the movie set out. It's really like linear. It feels like an NA car almost. Like it still feels NA. It's just it feels like you're going from like a small block to a big block or something almost. Like it puts you back, but like it's not no 1,000 horsepower blower car. It's gonna just slam you into the back of the seat.
Yeah, I was whenever I was doing research, yeah, it did say a lot. You do not want to throw 100% of that nitrous all at once. Typically, what they'll do is
No,
they'll scale
linear
it.
is stages. You know, you have 100 shot, then 200, then even 300.
Yeah, that's why they have the separate solenoids. I was
Yeah.
like getting deep in the research on running nitrous. It was a lot of fun to do a deep dive on something like that, especially with channels like Engine Masters that really do like super
Yeah.
scientific tests. And I mean,
Really, they're great to check out.
they even had a NOS system hooked up on a 305 with stock crank, cast everything, from the factory.
Yeah.
And that thing was making like, I can't remember, it was 1 horse. It was like 1 horsepower per cubic inch or whatever. No, it was
100?
it was a 305 making
No,
like
surely not
7.
100.
It was making a lot. I can't remember. You'll have to go back and watch it because they were expecting to have rods in the pan afterwards, but they just had your typical piston. Pretty much the best case scenario on a nitrous failure. It just took a chunk out of the
Melts.
piston. Yeah, it melts and took a little chunk out of the piston. Sidewall looked fine. Probably best case scenario on a nitrous fail.
Yeah. If you don't have a ring issue or like skirt, like cylinder wall issue, you probably fine.
I mean,
And then there's your reason to gap your rings and maybe go rod piston.
yeah, you see it every time. That's the typical NOS failure is it pinches a ring.
Yeah, that's the boost failure, I would argue.
You were even asking me about the mileage and everything. Tell me where the mileage implements, the factor on whether or not you should go nitrous on a high mileage motor.
Yeah, I would say it just really depends, on the engine's life before that. If you're doing nitrous, I really hope you're taking your rings out and gapping them. If it's a real high mileage motor, it may have a little less ring gap, so you might actually be a little more safer. But you gotta be careful because those rod bearings, if they're worn down, man, it's gonna hurt them bearings.
Yeah.
That oil film isn't gonna protect as much, and you could start hammering the bearings. And once you get so far gone, man, it's just like a matter of no time before you're out.
I didn't know there was a particular oil that you could even run to assist in nitrous setups, like a thicker filmed oil that helps better coat
But really,
everything.
that's anything with, again, higher cylinder pressure or higher abuse, really, high RPM.
Yeah.
GM recommends 1550 from factory on any LS engine that's road course,
Yeah. Which
Ford
is
is 5W50, I think, or 1050.
Ford is?
Yeah, they recommend that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing. A lot of people just don't do the research on stuff like that. And oil in particular really comes into play a lot more than people think. It doesn't just lubricate, it cools your engine too.
Yeah, and I mean it helps out with like the life and everything. You said like the more film you
Absolutely.
have, I mean that's coating, that is lubricant, that helps everything move along a lot better.
Without that, it is game over.
I mean if you're coming from my trade, imagine like tapping a hole with like generic engine oil. It works, but you get a little bit of tap
Not as
magic in
good.
there. Tap magic, it's gonna make your life way better because it better lubricates everything, gets everything out of there, moving along.
Spray a little Kroll on that beer.
That's right. I mean, to wrap up kind of our thoughts on NOS, I mean, I will say if you're one of these people that are afraid of NOS, afraid of, just grenading everything, I was right there with you. And I was right there with you that NOS is what kills engines. But that is not the right way to think. You need to stop thinking about that. Do your research. NOS doesn't kill engines. People kill engines.
I would say it does decrease the lifespan, but ultimately, I think if you're going to mod your car, you kind of expect that already.
You got
So
you got to think the GM engineers whenever they first made, we'll say like the LS3, they weren't sitting around a round table thinking, "Hey man, let's make this so nitrous can run on it." They're not. That's
yeah,
just
no, they're trying to make it run and the form it is, and only that form. They don't want you to modify the engine.
that's why you have to have these supporting mods, just like anything. Your supporting
Yes,
mods are your best friend. You cannot go into any application thinking, "Hey, I'm going to throw this high performance part on and not expect repercussions." You have to have those supporting mods. I mean, especially with like boost
absolutely.
applications,
You can
NOS.
throw a blower on a car and run it for like 3 years, like my coworker, and he's doing fine, even on Gen 3 LS rods. But there is going to come a time where he's either going to bend a rod, pinch a ring, or have some kind of failure. Like, it's just a matter of time. I see it all. I don't see it all the time because, it can take a long time, but I see it. And I wouldn't be afraid to put NOS on a car, especially if you have a daily. Do what makes you happy. If you want to be a car enthusiast and run NOS, by all means, do it.
Yeah, I agree, but like I said, I was gung ho about it. Whenever I found out how little a bottle actually holds, I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks. Like I'm gonna be going through bottles a lot, especially the first little bit I have nitrous for, because you're gonna be all giddy trying to use it all the time. Kind of sucks, and especially with the
Hmm.
price, it'll add up pretty quick. I think by the time you really have your fun with NOS, plus the price of getting it, installing all that, I'm like you said, I'm sure you wouldn't be very far from being able to afford a blower.
Blowers are fun.
Yeah, I mean that instant torque will really put a smile on your face.
Yeah, that's the fun thing. I mean, turbos are fun too, but working on them are not. I'm
That
currently working on one, and I'm just KMS, KMS.
that's another thing. Like I'd really want to do a deep dive on is supercharger versus turbocharger. But then again, it's kind of
Yeah,
like same thing. It's like different
turbo
applications.
wins, but man,
For my
I love a
application,
blower.
I like drag racing, but I like street racing way more. And whenever I want to street race, I want that
Turbo.
instant torque. I don't want to have to run somebody down. I want to red light
You're
to red
roll
light.
racing, man. Turbo.
Oh yeah, but like if I'm digging red light to red light, I need that. I need them big meats, and I need that big blower moving some air.
Yeah, red light to red light. You might. A good turbo setup, man, really can run a supercharger for its money.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the game of
But if
cat
you
and
got a
mouse.
really good supercharger setup, then it's game on.
Yeah, I mean like it's the game of cat and mouse. The mouse might be pretty quick out of the hole, but that cat's gonna run him down. I mean it's all
Yeah.
day. Yeah, that'd be a good talking point, and maybe even bring it up to one of our guests, so we'll
Yeah,
have
that's
another
a
good
great
gearhead.
episode idea.
But yeah, if that's all you've got, that's all I've got. We could throw it to a quick break and get into this gaming topic.
Yep.
So Jordan, who all's left on Warzone? If you had to take a guess,
12-year-olds.
I don't think I could disagree with that.
Hmm.
But
It's kind of hard not to.
I don't know. I kind of have to because I think there's two groups of people that's left in Warzone. You've got the player who is terrible and literally just in the pool to help out the skill-based matchmaking, and you have the streamers, which are the guys who will sweat to win and have every advantage because of how often they play.
Yeah, there definitely is still the streamers, but I mean, let's be real. Half the streamers that played Warzone have quit.
Yeah, the game's kind of dying, and I'm kind of happy about that. I'm not gonna lie. I never.
I am too. Activision needs to just stop.
So, I wanted to bring up this study first thing because it kind of shocked me. I'm not gonna lie. So, I know for sure this applies to the latest Call of Duty multiplayer, but I think it probably applies to Warzone also. But you've been sending me a lot of studies, but I hadn't seen this one yet. So there was they found some sort of thing that Activision was putting money into. So somebody started digging, and they found out that whenever a player acquires a weapon via microtransactions, such as like a weapon skin, whatever, what have you, that player will be hold on, let me read it word for word. For instance, the system may match a more expert player with a junior player to encourage the junior player to make game-related purchases on items possessed by the player. So the junior player will wish to be as good as the expert player by obtaining the weapon or using it.
It makes perfect sense if you really think about it, because these companies like Activision, any of these big companies, AAA developers, what they're looking at is not what players enjoy. They're looking at money. What brings them the most money? That's all they look at. They do not care about how you feel about the game. They don't care about new game modes that you want in. Like, Infected, where's that been? As in, like, for how long it wasn't even in. And then stats not being there on start. Like, they're releasing a broke game. It just blows my mind that people are still spending money on this game.
Yeah, and even further into that video, I saw. So the guy ran a test where he bought a weapon from the store and then went and used it, and oh my god, dude, this guy was just like duking on him. And I mean, it's like it's proven at this point, and it even goes so far to had a study to where the accuracy, you were way more accurate with your shots whenever you bought a brand new weapon from the store. Even more, giving the guy who just bought a weapon a bigger advantage, showing players that, hey, I need to acquire this to be better at the game.
Yeah, and man, I really wish I could just like understand why people like play the game. Like, I love Call of Duty when it comes to the older ones, man. But I'm guessing the people who play nowadays just didn't experience the older CODs.
Yeah, I mean it's so sad to see the state that it's gotten in, and I'm not even mad. I had a lot of fun on Warzone 1. It's not old Call of Duty by no means, but it was at least somewhat enjoyable. And I think
It was fun when it first came out.
yeah, and I think we have that to blame, that there was a lot of people who didn't know how to play the game really well yet, and the game hadn't refined its skill-based matchmaking, so there was a lot of learning that the game was doing before it hit that stage of, okay, we know how everybody is on average. We could start pairing the better and worse players. With that,
you know how good I am at that game, and I can't even do shit on Warzone.
yeah, that I don't know, man. It's like unfathomably difficult. Like it's almost impossible to get a win.
I'm a good player on Call of Duty by most people's standards, I would say. And I cannot win on Warzone, dude. You get me to win, and it's like a struggle.
I think,
The only times I've won has been with people who are worse than me, like my friends who don't play very often.
yeah,
I think that's the only time I win is when I'm with them.
I've won one time, and like you said, it was literally like if I had made one wrong move, it would have been the game. Like you have to be on X Games level to win a match. Because
I'm not saying good players can't win consistently. I do think they can.
yeah, it definitely seems like a diamond in the rough whenever you do win, though. And it's kind of like, it's weird to see because the streamers be winning all the time, but I mean they're playing constantly. And what I think there needs to be is a study on these streamers, because it would not surprise me if they were putting these streamers in easier matches because there's eyes on them.
I think there's been evidence of that before.
Because these streamers,
people talk about streamer lobbies. That's a term that's been around for a while now.
yeah, because I mean, if the game boosts how the streamer does, then that's, people are going to see that and say like, oh, okay, I can learn from watching this guy and then go do it myself, and of course that gets another player on the game.
Yeah, dude, I could just be so much happier if they would stop releasing games that aren't finished and releasing games that reward good players. Because even just not even talking about Warzone, but just Call of Duty in general, man. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was a flop. I mean, El Azra or whatever. No, not that map. The border map, dude, man. I can't even begin to express the hate I had for that.
Do you think why do you think a lot of people abandon ship on Modern Warfare 2 so quickly? Because I mean, we could probably see a steady decrease in, I mean, a lot of people such as us, we buy the Call of Duty as soon as it comes out, but it's like
not anymore.
yeah. The lifetime the average player ends up playing before moving on to something else, dude, it's got to be on a steady decline. Like it has to.
It is. It absolutely is. I think it's like through the roof. Like the amount of people that quit after the game releases is like never been this high before.
I mean,
The
even
game is still buggy. I mean, months later, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, you listen to YouTubers like I think Merc's a great person to cover Call of Duty content.
yeah, that's who I was
Yeah,
going
he's
to
a veteran
reference.
just like us. Like we know exactly where he's coming from experience.
He was one of the, it seemed like one of the first big guys to really give up. I mean, he still played Modern Warfare 2 whenever new drops drop, but I mean, like after the hype of that, like after a week, he'd drop it, and it was he is the main, one of the main Call of Duty YouTubers, I would say. He don't stream Call of Duty, but as far as
Jev, I mean, look,
coverage,
Face Jev. You ever listen to him?
yeah, he's got a lot of good points.
I
I
really like Jev. He's, just like Merc, but he was more competitive, obviously being part of FaZe Clan, and I kind of come from a more competitive, maybe not background, but I've always been a more competitive person, a better player than the average player. And well, the newer Call of Duty is just slowing you down, making it easier for worse players. Like good players just can't outplay people as good now, and it's just so frustrating. I think that's why it's on the decline, is because it's just rewarding new players. It's not doing anything for the people who built the industry for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like we're the blue collar guys just getting like duked on because you got
Shafted.
these streamers. They're doing well because they're streamers, and these new players are doing well because they're new players. So the middleman, us, we're just sitting here like, God dang, I hate this game. I hope it like
Yeah.
just hurry up and dies.
Oh, we have one good game. Now we're going to get in a lobby with a million other people who are sweats.
I mean, at this point, I
Well,
don't.
skill-based matchmaking was one of the worst things they ever did. I will die on that hill.
I don't even want to see any of the old Call of Duties remastered at this point because they're just going to
No,
butcher
I don't
it.
either.
Honestly, I would just rather see Call of Duty as a
Go
brand.
play X Defiant.
Yeah,
Don't even play Call of Duty.
I would rather see them put these emulators on a pedestal instead of shut them down like they've been doing.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. It's content they're never going to use, and they're just stopping us from using it. We use it better than them. It's like Jeff said, man. I don't even need to say nothing. Just watch Jeff's, explanation of it.
I mean, back to Warzone though, man. I'm telling you that I did really enjoy it, and it does kind of suck to see what happened to it happen because it was pretty fun. You could jump on there with some buddies that you pretty much needed to go in with the mindset that you weren't going to win. But I mean, even playing with you, we could do well and have fun. But
Yeah.
towards like the middle of Warzone 1's lifetime, going to the end, even, God, dude, like you said, it's so difficult with the streamers and the snipers, and it felt like there was no weapon balance because
I think on PC it would have been worse too. I feel like console players are probably not as affected by some of the issues we're talking about.
oh yeah, I can speak from experience because back whenever Warzone 1 came out, I was on console, and I'm telling you, man, that was whenever I got my first win. It was so much fun playing on console. It's like the aim assist, everything. You were like babied on console compared to how it is on PC.
Yeah, aim assist is really overpowered, I'd say. Doesn't it? I mean, ain't there a study on it? But I don't know. I feel like it was overpowered. I thought I saw something about that. Maybe not. Maybe I'm talking on my ass here, but it definitely seems like console players are a little sheltered.
Yeah, well, they thought they were because of field of view slider, but now they don't have that excuse because now all these new games come out with the field of view slider.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it felt like there was like the weapon balance was so terrible because everybody ran the same weapon. They would run a sniper and an M4, like every single class, and
And then the fact that Warzone was literally getting more attention than the base game when it's the game mode of the game.
right, yeah. And it's funny too because you get your buddies to get it because it's free. Like, oh yeah, it's a free to play game. But in reality, it's just a way to get you to buy the full game because that's how you can
Absolutely.
level up your weapons faster.
Or buy the bundles because you get the weapons.
Yep. So it's almost like a no-brainer that they released Warzone to be free because it's promoting sales.
Man, I get so mad talking about it because all the content that comes out is mainly bundles, man. No one wants bundles. Give us new maps on multiplayer. Give us good content. Fix the issues. Fix the issues before you release extra content, man. It shouldn't even have to be said. Oh my god, it infuriates me.
So we got Activision, we got Sledgehammer Games, and Treyarch. Why can't we just have another studio break off from Call of Duty and just focus on Warzone? Like, my God, it's just like It's so infuriating to see, like, for Cold War. Literally, Cold War was made just so we could have a weapon variety in Warzone. Like, it's
It
proven.
sucks because I actually enjoyed Cold War more than Modern Warfare multiplayer.
Yeah. I mean, there just needs to be a separate studio to take over on Warzone. You know, charge money for the game or don't. I don't really care. We just need some separation between Call of Duty and Warzone because it's just like...
it almost should be its own thing.
It's just like a toxic relationship at this point. Like, literally.
If they charged for Warzone, people would buy it too. I don't know why they don't do it because they're greedy like that.
Yeah. But no, they want you to spend money on the $30 microtransaction.
Yeah. Buy their bundles.
Yeah. It does make sense that they would make it free, though, because they're getting people on there that would be unlikely to spend money, but they inevitably do it anyways.
I just feel like it would be such a small percentage. Like, the people who get on it for free would probably buy it. So,
I think you would have liked Warzone a lot better if you would have played Plunder. I don't know if you ever played Plunder.
I never did play Plunder.
It was so much fun because, of course, you had infinite lives. You know, you could be really competitive on there and still do okay because the whole system is you get money, first one to 1 million, and then, like, I think there's, after somebody hits 1 million, there's like a time limit or something. But, like, the stakes, it felt like a wager match because if you were like those, you know, bare minimum bandits, like on the bottom of the leaderboard, and you came across those guys holding all the money in first place, if they didn't deposit it in their bank and they still had it on their person, oh my god, that was the difference between night and day. I think you would have enjoyed that aspect of Warzone a lot better. Whenever we speak about Warzone, we of course are referring to the Battle Royale portion, the last man standing, but Plunder, I will say for a fact, was so much fun, especially if you were if you're one of these guys that's never played Call of Duty, you just got it for free to play with your buddies. I think you would have liked Plunder to learn the system. That's why I did it, because, you know, Warzone was a whole different feel. You know, we'd never had anything like that in Call of Duty other than Blackout, if you don't talk about that. Yeah. So it was nice to have Plunder because I was having a hard time learning the mechanics. You know, you think it's the same mechanics, which, you know, if you're talking about it mechanically, it is the same. But whenever you talk about a player, you're in a lot bigger of a setting. You're in a different style of setting where it's not 6v6 or, you know, face off. You have so many more people to focus on. It was nice to learn the system in Plunder. I can't speak about it now. Of course, I haven't played it, but Warzone 2, it did have some aspects I really liked. I liked the proxy chat.
I didn't like weapon tuning, though.
I didn't either, dude. They made that so
it's
confusing.
Too complex. Call of Duty is arcade, not realism, you know?
Pick 10 or, like, don't. Like, my God. Pick 10 is the best system.
Then time to kill is way too fast for how slow-paced the multiplayer is. I can't speak on Warzone too much.
Yeah. I agree 100%. And a lot of people are like, oh, my gosh, it gives us so much control as a player. Like, those are those players that never played Pick 10 because it was so much simpler.
Those are the people who never played, like, MW3, Black Ops 2. I mean, just walking around the map was faster.
I don't know about
reloading faster, aim down sight faster, sprint faster, without the perks.
Like, back then, if you were spending that much time idle on a Call of Duty game, you were making a cool emblem. Am I wrong?
Dude, I can't tell you how many hours I put on just making an emblem on Black Ops 2.
But nowadays,
I probably put 10 hours on that at least.
Nowadays, you got these guys sitting there for like an hour trying to get their gun just like perfectly dialed in.
It's like, no, dude, I should be able to understand what suits my playstyle best and be able to make 2 or 3. Like, I re-downloaded Black Ops 2, for example, on I can't remember what it's called. What we play it on? Plutonium?
Oh, yeah, Plutonium.
I didn't even have to research anything. I just remembered, like, and I knew what most of the attachments are self-explanatory. It's just like, you got 20 different grips, so you got to figure out which one does best. Man, it's just like, fuck off. No one wants to go through and YouTube one class, and then you got 10 more to fucking make.
I want to be able to make the simple decision at, suppressor versus, long barrel. That's the decision I want to make.
Yeah, like suppressor, long barrel, fast mag, or extended mag. Like, it's so easy, and they just mess it up.
Like, I will say, Call of Duty is trying way too hard to be just like Battlefield whenever it comes to crap like that.
And
like,
Battlefield is so much better.
Yeah, they don't have all that stupid stuff where you guys spend time tuning a gun. Like,
nah.
They even increased quality of life. The whole switching attachments on the fly stuff, that was awesome. Like, but
Yeah, that was one of the best things Battlefield's done. If we want to talk about that,
Call of Duty thinks they have these bright ideas like Gunsmith, and it's just like, no, it's not. You're not Battlefield.
it was cool when Modern Warfare first came out. I was like, okay, I can kind of get behind that, but it was just too much. They take a good idea, and then they just ruined it.
Yeah.
Is what happened.
And
it was cool. Like,
it's obscene too, and it's funny because Call of Duty's trying to be realistic so bad, but
it's not.
Could you imagine the weight of already having an AR-15, for example, but you got 10 attachments on it? You imagine how heavy that is? You're not going to be able to run full sprint with the AR with like 30 pounds worth of attachments on that.
Yeah. What about a rocket launcher on? You want to run full sprint with that?
Yeah, it's just...
How you want to talk about realism? Oh, I can just throw C4 and blow it up in front of me and not die. Like, Call of Duty's not realistic, and anyone who thinks it's trying to be realistic is just bullshit, and they're just trying to fuck over the good players.
Absolutely.
I could talk for an hour on this shit, dude. Every little detail that I just, like, have experienced. Taking out party games, not being there on release, no hardcore on release, shitty map design. Like, it just goes on and on, man.
So tell me this, and I want to know your opinion. It makes no sense that they have a like amazing game mode that's getting people re-downloading the game. Us, for example, such as Infected, but they don't keep the game in permanently. What? Why? That makes no sense to me. Does it make any sense to you? Because I'm lost.
And
on
End Up 3, once they finally released it, which was towards the end of the game, but it was the first time they ever had it. They never took it out. All or Nothing never stayed out. I mean, Black Ops 1 had all the party games from release. Black Ops 2 did. Black Ops 3 did. I don't know if Black Ops 4 did. I never did play Black Ops 4, but special games or like what would they call it? Like all the missions on End Up 2, End Up 3.
Oh, Spec Ops.
Spec Ops, yeah. I mean, that was in from day one.
Yeah, it's like it gives the game.
And they add that in on the original Modern Warfare. They was like, oh, we're bringing that back. And it was nothing like the original. Like, they're just trying to get you to buy the game, man. It's like I'm voting for someone and they just don't do anything they say. Like, why would you vote again? Why would you buy the game again?
You're not wrong. It's like they're going to disappoint you every single time. Like, they've been burning us for so many years straight. I think the last good Call of Duty game we got was Black Ops 3. That's so sad.
Black Ops 4 could be arguable. I don't know. I never did play it, but some people stand by that game. And the zombies on there was good. I'll give it that.
I mean, how long ago did Black Ops 3 came out? You know, it's been probably close to a decade since we've seen a good Call of Duty game. That is depressing. Yeah. Like,
I got the Prestige Master on there. I enjoyed that game a lot.
I do think Warzone has the potential to be a good game if they would just, like, the skill-based matchmaking is obscene. Like, there's just no way, and, like, I don't know, man. It really is just the skill-based matchmaking, because they have the premise of it being an amazing game mode. Like, you've got the guns.
They need to start from scratch, dude. It ain't even that.
Yeah. I mean, they've got the idea there. Call of Duty is, it's always been a great first-person shooter, and I would still say it is to this day. It kind of sucks that they're slowing people down and everything, but the whole aspect of it is a decent game. I mean, it's like a top-selling game for a reason. So it's there. It's just Warzone could be it. Like you said, they just need to start from the drawing boards and they need to get rid of skill-based matchmaking, man. They need to quit forcing that on
the
people.
number one issue of all things. That, and then movement speed, reload speed, all that could be, it's an arcade game at the end of the day. I don't think they really should have messed with it that much. You can add perks or, attachments for that, but I think the base stats are just way too low.
Oh, I agree too. And I didn't even believe you whenever you were like, yeah, you run slower in the new Call of Duties. I'm like, there's no way. It seems so much faster.
It looks faster. The animation looks faster, but it's not.
And the reload too. I was like, there's no way. And it's like, it's crazy. If you watch them side by side, you will see that there is a drastic difference between modern day Call of Duty and the old school.
And then I don't know if it's true or not, but skill based bullet impacts like on people, like hit markers.
Oh man,
I watched a video. One dude, I think I sent it to you. Like, he clearly got like 5 shots off, and he only got 1 hit marker, and the dude killed him. He should have been dead. Like, I don't know if that dude bought a bundle the game before or what, man, but it's just like stupid. Like, I know I've died to stuff like that. I'm like, I know I lit him up. I know I aimed on him. I got decent aim. Like, It's just so infuriating, man. I think anyone who I think even if we should just sit down all the developers and just have them on a live stream and see if they don't get mad when they play the game, honestly. I
Yeah.
would love to see their genuine reaction to playing the game because I don't see developers playing the game.
No, dude, they got quality testers. They just take these crappy ideas and throw them at us. Is all they do. They're just ruining the game, man. And you
It
got
just makes me so upset because I've played it almost my whole life, man.
yeah, for them just to screw us over.
Since I've been like, since Call of Duty 3 came out, I've been playing Call of Duty, the OG Call of Duty 3, man. Like, I love Call of Duty. I'm not here just to rag on Call of Duty.
I mean, they kind of make it easy whenever they do stuff like this, though.
They make it too easy because they've just ruined my trust in them.
Yeah, we shouldn't be complaining about a Call of Duty game, like 2 weeks into its life cycle. But I mean, that's where we find ourselves at, and it's
Complaining about it day one, dude. Like I can't even. Like I remember when Black Ops 2 came out, man. I played all night Christmas morning because I was a Christmas noob.
that's why
I never complained. Like never. Black Ops 3 never complained. I was like, oh my god, the campaign's amazing, the gameplay's amazing, specialists are here. Like, what could you not like?
Dude, we was on Black Ops 3
Even
hard.
Advanced Warfare, man. I loved that game when it came out.
The spike ball was fun, I will say that.
It was fun. The zombies was really challenging. It was different, like it was still good content. And really, I think Infinite Warfare was the last good one.
Yeah, its zombies was peak for me. I'd re-download it just to play the zombies. I love that.
Yeah, zombies was
Zombies
whoever
in Space
designed the first zombies map. They needed a raise when that game came out.
I heard all of them were good. Raven, the Redwoods. I heard a lot of the zombies maps on that game were a lot of fun.
I just wasn't gonna buy the DLC for that game. It wouldn't for me.
Back whenever those transactions were actually worth it. Yeah, it's like Call of Duty be like, hey, yeah, all the DLC maps, they're completely free, guys. But yet they have all these microtransactions. So I guess in a way, thanks you 12-year-olds that are still in your mom and dad's credit card and buying microtransactions. Because in a way, you're paying for our DLC maps. Because you paying for microtransactions are why we don't have to pay for DLC maps anymore. It's kind of
It
sad.
just sucks because the bundles are really AIDS.
Yeah.
You don't even get nothing good. Oh, I get a skin and a tracer.
Yeah, you want to talk about realism. You got guys running around with, like, bunny suits.
Yeah,
and, like,
bunny suit, clown suit.
Gonzo the
And
Clown.
you got the sweats and the ESL or whatever, the Pro League.
Right, that's like in Warzone. If I see you wearing that Call of Duty League skin, I'm gonna be trying to
I'm
snipe
out.
you. Like if
CDL, I think that's what it is. I don't know.
Call of Duty League skin. Yeah, you're probably gonna that pack should you shouldn't be able to buy that unless you have like an insane KD. Like we're not gonna let you have this.
What happened to like rank play, man? Is that even a thing anymore?
I doubt it. I highly, extremely doubt it. That's
Because
sad.
I remember league play on Black Ops 2, man. I was sweated when I got on there, but
Get the
tell you
boys
what, in
together.
casual, it was just chill.
Yeah, dude, get the boys together on some league play. We're about to rank up tonight.
Yeah, I did it. And if you just want to hit cash and quick scope or whatever, it wasn't even hard to quick scope and do decent.
No. Like, dude, skill-based matchmaking, I swear. It's ruined our Call of Duty careers.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's more people that sweat nowadays, but I still think it'd be enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, we've wandered about as far off as we can from Warzone, so I guess...
Yeah, I don't know if I can really say much more about it. I've expressed, my opinion.
Yeah.
If I have one thing to say to, by the grace of God, if some Call of Duty dev is watching and listening, man, just take it back to more arcade style.
That would be... That would save that game, honestly.
That's what everyone wants in Call of Duty. It's not... If you want realism, you're not playing this. You're playing Arma. You're playing, like, other games.
Right. Siege.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say that's realism. That's arcades, too.
Yeah. Just a little bit more tactical.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. There's a lot more prep and stuff. CSGO is even more realistic, I would argue.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're kind of not wrong. Alright, well, if you don't have anything else, let's throw it to an outro.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to have notifications on because this Tuesday, July 4th, begins our In Real Life mini-series. The next episode in particular is our 4th of July special. You're not going to want to miss it. We got some really, really awesome content from a Facebook group asking some mechanics and just car enthusiasts their cop stories, and it's just going to be 4th of July themed, and it's going to be really awesome. You're not going to want to miss it. Like I said, have on those notifications. Follow us on social media, and we will catch you guys on Tuesday. Don't forget,